One of the most famous scenes in the 1939 movie, The Wizard of Oz, takes place when Dorothy and the others discover who the wizard really is. They had first understood the wizard to be this larger-than-life, awe-inspiring, kind of terrifying figure.
I'll have to give the matter a little thought. Go away and come back tomorrow.
But when the curtain gets pulled back, they discover he's nothing but a kindly old man and a lousy wizard.
The great Oz has spoken.
Who are you?
Oh, I am the great and powerful Wizard of Oz.
Now, this is a good way to understand what we call hypocrisy, when the way in which we present ourselves or the way in which we talk doesn't add up to what we really do or who we really are. And you see scenes of hypocrisy in movies all the time. In Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Dr. Robotnik is a hypocrite when he yells at Knuckles for betraying him because that's what Robotnik had done to Knuckles earlier in the movie. We see this in Tangled when Mother Gothel warns Rapunzel against dangerous, selfish, evil people when she's the one who kidnapped Rapunzel for her own dangerous and selfish reasons. Now in movies, it's often done for humorous or for dramatic effect. But what happens when hypocrisy is something we see in real life from somebody who stands up as a religious or moral authority? When what they do or who they are isn't what they've said or how they've presented themselves to the rest of us. The problem of religious hypocrisy is not a new one. Some of Jesus' harshest words in the Gospels are directed at spiritual leaders who didn't practice what they preached. Jesus calls them blind guides, fools, whitewashed tombs, unseen graves, serpents, and vipers. These are harsh words. But you'll notice something if you read the passages where Jesus is calling them out. He doesn't tell his followers to ignore their instructions. In fact, he tells them the opposite. He tells us to do what they say and not what they do. Basically, what he's saying is don't throw away something good just because somebody else has misused it. You can think about this in practical terms. If you were to walk into a gym, you're going to come across a diverse group of people. There are people you look at and say, they're really healthy. There are people you look at and say, they're trying to get healthier, they're working on it, but they're not quite there yet. There are people who are just there to show off. But simply because there are people who misuse the gym, who aren't there for the right reasons, doesn't mean you say, well, this place is useless, so I'm never coming here again. You look at the ones who are using it properly, and you try and imitate them. It's why you can have a gym coach. It's why you can read various different manuals on how to use the equipment or how to get healthier. Well, what's true of a gym is true of the church. There is a diverse group of people in the church. There are people that we hold up as role model examples. We call them saints. There are 10,000 of those in the history of the church. There are people who fall short, all the rest of us, who are sinners. And yeah, there's hypocrites among us too. People who present themselves in one way, but are trying to shortcut their way around something else, or who are missing the point. But we don't hold the sinners or the hypocrites up as the examples of what it's supposed to be a Christian. That's what the saints are for. And so we want to imitate them. They're the ones who show the value, the point, the purpose of what the church is for. And remember this, just because they're saints doesn't mean that they always got it right. There are moments where they too were sinners, that some of them might have felt a little bit like hypocrites. But when they realized what was going on, when they came face to face with their own weakness, with their own hypocrisy, they did something about it. They turned back to the Lord. And this brings to light one other thing that's worth considering. When we come across hypocrisy in the church, when we are rightly scandalized by it, there's a spiritual opportunity here. Because the reality is, all of us fall short of what we want to be. And it's what we do in those moments that puts us on the road to becoming a saint or not. Think about Simon Peter. When he realizes who Jesus is after the miraculous catch of fish.
Depart from me. I am a sinful man. You don't know who I am and the things I've done.
Don't be afraid, Simon.
I'm sorry. We've waited for you for so long, we believe, but my faith, I'm sorry.
Jesus didn't leave Simon Peter simply because Simon Peter had fallen short of who he was trying to be. This, in fact, became the open door Jesus needed to call Simon to follow him. And the same is true for us. When we become aware of the hypocrisy of others, or when we reflect on our own hypocrisy, it's an opportunity to turn to him and say, Lord, I'm a sinful man. I'm a sinful person. And it gives him the open door to call us to follow him ourselves, and to allow him to change our hearts so that the person who's behind the curtain is more and more like the person that we really want to be.